I got this kind of weird sized envelope today. It is like a square, 1 foot by 1 foot, and more of an envelope, so like half an inch wide if anything. And I am going to use a box cutter to open it. It looks like you could tear it, but it makes it easier to just use the cutter. And inside, nice. Onslaught at Arda, Star Wars Age of Rebellion, an adventure module. I think it's the only thing in the collection that I don't have, and now I do. So, following its defeat at Yavin, the Empire tightens its grip on surrounding systems. Nearby, a secret rebel base on Arda I hides the shadows of a twisting canyon known as a gauntlet. When Imperial Star Destroyers appear in orbit, the rebels must scramble to evacuate before they are overrun. Cool. Action-packed adventure. A group of new recruits must defend the rebel base from Imperial onslaught and root out the traitor who exposed them. Sounds good. There's a traitor. Sweeping tale of rebellion and betrayal, perfect for starting characters. New rules for handling mass combat and managing competing events. All new adversaries and vehicles, including the T-47 Sandspeeder, TIE Hunter, Viper Probe Droid, and Devlik. So, and also mini gazetteers for Arda I, Yagomir, and Ord Radama, allowing game masters to use these locations in their own campaigns. So pretty cool. It might be railroady for beginning characters, but it might be kind of cool. I don't know. I guess you could. I don't know. I feel like in my plan on running these things, I don't know how close to the beginning. It says for beginning players, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. I had a plan for how I was going to run things, but this might change it. Cool. Onslaught at Arda.
Carl Rodriguez is the GMologist, GM extraordinaire, the GMologist.
Welcome back to the Geomologist Presents, and welcome back to Mini Review Monday. So today I'm going to talk about, well, you heard what I opened, Onslaught at Arda I. It is an adventure for Star Wars Age of Rebellion using the former Fantasy Flight Genesis system, the funky dice, the narrative dice as people have called them. I think it's a very fun system. I played a lot of Edge of the Empire with this system, and I really enjoy it. Unfortunately, Fantasy Flight no longer has the license, but all of these are being reprinted by Edge. So you can find them now. They were really expensive for a little bit, but now you can get them relatively cheap. So it's kind of cool. They do have like the little, scroll that you could read to the players. It consists of like the introduction, the episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3. So it has three chapters of adventure. So the adventure in 3 parts, and then the introduction. The introduction is actually very helpful. There's a little bit of fiction there before the introduction. Sector 42, all clear, crackled over the comm. Moving to Sector 43. So there you go. You can read it like that. The introduction is very helpful. It gives an adventure overview, which I really liked. Unfortunately, I think there's a spoiler on the back of the adventure on the back cover that does suggest that there is a traitor. They probably could have left that out. So now the players are going to be looking for a traitor. I'm not going to trust anyone. Maybe that's good. Maybe that's bad. You could probably set it up that way. I think in my current campaign, right now they're in Onderon. I haven't even done the Battle of Scarif yet. It's still 1 BBY. So, Battle of Scarif, and then the events that happen in Star Wars A New Hope, and then culminating in the Battle of Yavin. I would like players to partake in those events. So this takes place after the Battle of Yavin, as after they leave Yavin, the fourth moon on Yavin, after the Death Star explodes, because there's apparently an Imperial counterattack, and they have to scatter, right? So Arda I is one of those places they scatter to. So it gives you important characters in here, and then the adventure summary, which is very good. Game preparation, how to award experience, and then there's a something called duty as well. So experience helps the players improve their skills, talents, um, eventually their ability scores. But the duty is kind of like a currency. It's not a currency. It's a way of tracking the contribution rank within the rebellion, and you acquire duty when you reach a certain threshold, which is 100. Then reset to a new rank, and then you kind of keep going up from there, and it kind of shows the player's progression within the context of the rebellion, which is a cool mechanic, honestly, to show the players are becoming, influencers in the heroic tale of the rebellion in the Star Wars universe. So it talks about how to integrate the player characters with their raw recruits, and for me, probably when I get to this, the player characters will be established agents, probably rank 2 or higher. I feel like they're almost they were rank 0 to start. It looks like when they finish on Onderon, they'll be at the very beginning of rank 1, and then through the Onderon saga, I might run a few adventures here and there for them using Onderon as a base, and then things will happen. They'll probably be rank 2, maybe even higher by the time we get to Scarif, Yavin, etc. So we'll see how it goes. It also tells how to integrate player characters if you're starting from Edge of the Empire. If they're like smugglers, like Scum and Villainy, then you could bring them into the rebellion through here. And how to motivate the characters with a connection, belief, with quests. And then it goes into the various scenarios when they get there, what they do when they get there, and then what I think might be an issue as I were to run it, and this is a spoiler for this, it is called Onslaught of Arda I. So part of it is to really have the characters help in a retreat from Arda, and then have various fights therein. Knowing my players, they don't like to retreat, so we'll see how that goes. Will they have to give an order to retreat? Will they do it? Who knows what they will do? And then the second part is that the group, the people leaving the base, if they successfully leave the base, and then regrouping and where they go, and then realizing that there is a traitor in their midst, and then doing various missions on the new place they go to, and then finally, when they figure everything out, tracking the person who betrayed them somewhere else. So, it could be. It does. There is something. It does sound like it could be railroady, but there is a nice little blurb here in the adventure. Sorry, in the when you integrate the player characters here, if I can find it. It does say jumping the rails as the section in game preparation. As the adventure progresses, the GM should allow the PC's agency to determine their own course of action whenever possible. Right? Due to the military nature of Age of Rebellion, it's easy to let the NPCs order around the fresh recruits. There is a chain of command. Some players take to that, some players don't. Right? However, letting the PCs blaze their own path. I mean, they might be a higher rank. They might be well known, depending on how things go, depending on how they did in the various scenarios, right? Were they at Yavin? Were they at Scarif? Who knows? So we'll see. How did they do? How will they do on Onderon? Time will tell. So as much as the PCs want to bring freedom to the galaxy, they'll need to weigh their orders against their duties and weigh their duties against their motivations and possibly even obligation over the course of the mission. So the duty, what their duty is, what their motivations and their beliefs are, that'll kind of map what they do. Maybe they want to be sacrificial. We're going to hold out as long as we can against the Imperial attack and let our rest of the rebels get away. So who knows what they will do? And I'm glad it does say that. Give them as much agency as you can in a situation where you're you're attacking them, right? You're without beyond things beyond their control happen, and there is an attack scenario. So it's very cool. Also, there is how to run mass combat. There's like a sidebar here in the first section on the first episode on how to do mass combat and how you would do that. You kind of grab a pool of dice. It says here, and you add a number of dice for the different people or the different. You build like a pool, and I guess you have various units, and you build a pool and you build the against the enemy forces, and then you add or subtract dice, and then you can do spends like you would, based on the narrative dice, what you get on the dice to see what happens. And this can add or not to the individual player actions, right? So yeah, so that should be fun to kind of run and see how that goes. I probably will read that ahead of time, just in case I get into mass combat situations before then. I know that in the GM's guide they have like fleet operations as well. They might have like another sidebar on fleet operations when you're running like a big battle, right? Because I guess you can run everything. Maybe in like a skirmish, you should run everything. There's actually a sidebar on how to run investigations, reminding you of the different NPCs and what their motivations and stuff are as well. That's in the episode 2 part. And then let's see. Anything very key in the last part in episode 3. Oh, they do give like all the 3 locations that there are. They give like a whole page on the planet. There's an action tracker if you're during chases or if you're doing investigations as well. I think it's very, very helpful. And yeah, really nice maps. Great art as usual. Very evocative of the Star Wars universe. And then fortunately, there's a nice epilogue, like what happens after, which is always very helpful. So yeah, I'm looking forward to running this one of these days. I hope the players don't outrun it, or hopefully we don't get tired of Star Wars by the time we get to Onslaught at Arda I. I would recommend it. It does say it's for beginning characters as well. If you're just jumping in to Age of Rebellion Star Wars and you want to start, nominally it takes place after the Battle of Yavin, so in that interim, while the rebels are scattered to various locations. So there you go. That is Onslaught at Arda. And that is it for my mini review Monday. Thank you for listening to the GMologist Presents. You can, if you have any comments or questions on this Star Wars Age of Rebellion product, you can leave me a message at as a voice recorded message using the and DMing me on various Discords. I'm on several of them, so you can just send me a DM. You can use my SpeakPipe account, which is in the show notes, and you can also attempt to leave me a message on the Spotify for Podcasters website. Maybe one of these days Spotify will get its own little button to press, or Spotify for Podcasters will. That would be kind of cool if they bring that back. And what else? Oh, yes, intro and outro music by TJ Drennan. The cover art that I'm showing for the Onslaught Arda, I hope they give a cover credit for this. Let's see. Cover art is by David Keg and Ignacio Bazan Lazcano. So right, because there's like an individual soldier, and then there's like a backdrop, kind of familiar what you see like in Pathfinder Adventures. They have like a hero or an NPC, and then they have like the backdrop of what can happen in the adventure, which shows some spoiler TIE bombers blowing up a canyon. So pretty cool. Did I say TJ Drennan does the intro and outro music? Yep, I did. So again, thank you for listening to the GMologist Presents. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.